An estimated 24.9 million people are trafficked each year. Now, what am I talking about when I say trafficked? What is human trafficking? Well, under U.S. law, trafficking in persons is defined as induced force, fraud, or coercion, or in which the person induced to perform such acts has not attained the age of 18 years old, or the recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision, or obtaining of a person for labor or services through the use of force, fraud, coercion, for the purpose of subjection to involuntary servitude, work, peonage, debt bondage, or slavery. Now, who are these 24.9 million people, and where are they currently? Well, like I said, total 24.9 million people, and unfortunately, most of those are women and girls. Now, the International Labor Organization reported in 2017 that just over 71% of women were children and were young girls and women. 25% of them were under the age of 18, and 19% of them were used for sex. These numbers are just rough estimates. In fact, they're actually low estimates. Many people project these numbers to be much higher. Now, where are most of these victims found? Well, most of them are found in the Asia-Pacific region, including China, with 15.4 million cases. And the rest in Africa. Africa's got about 5.4 million, and then the United States and the Americas contain the remainder. Now, clearly human trafficking is a massive issue on a global scale. What has our country done, if anything, to combat this issue? Well, surprisingly, only 20 years ago, the first law was actually signed into effect, making human trafficking a federal crime, and that was the Trafficking Persons Protection Act. And also, more recently in 2018, the Stop Enablers Protection Act as well. Now, what that did was that was Trump's administration's effort to combat human trafficking online, primarily targeting Backpage, and basically any other person's website that allowed and facilitated the trafficking of people. Now, also, that Trafficking Victims Protection Act, that's also gotten renewed a couple times in the past. Now, even more recently than that, I'm sure you guys have heard about the Jeffrey Epstein case, his famed pedophile island. As horrible as that is, and I'm sure pretty much unanimously everybody thinks that's horrible, that is only the tip of the iceberg. The U.S. Department of State established that 14,500 to 17,500 people are trafficked annually in the U.S. alone. And on the way here, these people are subjected to absolutely horrible conditions, bad nutrition, inadequate water, disease, rape, what have you. The conditions that people in the United States have had an outcry over the past couple of years, the cages set up by the Obama administration, and then most recently came out, people getting extremely angry about that. These people are subjected to far worse conditions than anybody at those federal holding facilities. And there's millions of people, far more people, but just an absolutely large amount of people. Now, like I said, what happens to them when they're on the way here? Horrible things. Now what happens to them when they get here? Also horrible things. Things do not get any better. These people are regularly subjected to sexual abuse. These people are subjected to general physical abuse. These people are subjected to drug addiction, making them addicted to drugs. So it makes them, basically, in a sense, they get Stockholm Syndrome, they get addicted to drugs, and the only person supplying them the drugs is the person who's holding them captive. These victims are often targeted from minority neighborhoods, the poor neighborhoods, mentally challenged people as well, and the young. Anybody in a particularly vulnerable age group will be exploited to the best of these people's ability. The people who come and look for people are predators, and they're going to look for prey. They're going to look for people that they can easily take. And an actual victim of human trafficking is quoted saying in 2017 in an interview with Fortune magazine, they're looking at people of poverty, people of color, people recently out of the foster care system. All people I've named beforehand. And also, this is echoed by Jennifer O'Brien in a 2017 study by herself. Now, substance misuse and child sex exploitation were both significantly positively correlated in child sex trafficking. What does that mean? Well, what that means is that the people who deserve protection the most in our country, the sick, the weak, the poor, the subjugated upon, all of those people are the ones who are affected most by this absolutely horrible pandemic, by this massive issue that's plaguing the world and most parts of the world. The people we should be protecting the most are the ones who are getting hurt the most by this. So, the lack of attention, as I said beforehand, and the lack of attention and national outcry is what's allowed this to fester and flourish in the background behind anybody's knowledge. Now, with this many millions of people being subjected to what many call, or many have considered modern-day slavery, however, with these millions of people being subjected to this, the problem is far from over. It's actually projected to get even more profitable. This $150 billion industry is projected to grow even greater. What the internet has done to facilitate this and make this grow even larger, it can also help to combat it. By spreading information, shining a light on this issue, thousands of people in the US and millions of people around the world can actually have a voice. These people are suffering because of this horrible crime. These are not just numbers, these are not just statistics. These are mothers, these are women, these are children, these are people that you may even know and who haven't talked about it, people who've been exploited. It's all of these people, and these people aren't just numbers, as I said beforehand. I just believe it's important for all of us to remember that. And yeah, that's my speech.